What is up, my hollers? Whoopuk Leader here, and today we're going to be speculating on the future of the Child's Play franchise, and I'm talking after the TV series. I'm talking about the two remaining films that most likely take place after the series. In case you didn't know, Don Mancini plans to release two more films to conclude the franchise of our beloved OG Chucky, and this information was confirmed by a video that was released 5 months ago by our awesome friend 3C Films. I'm actually really curious to know what the title of those two films are going to be. It could be Terror of Chucky, and then the final film could be Legacy of Chucky, or it could be Army of Chucky, and then Death of Chucky. We don't really know, because at the end of Cult, we still aren't really sure of the importance of a cult, or the importance of Chucky taking over Nika's body. By the way, quick shout out and thank you to Alex Reader for giving me the idea to make a part of this video discuss the possession of Nika. I think we're all curious to know the reason why. But here's my theory / prediction on how I think everything is going to play out after the TV series for the two remaining films. And to make this video less convoluted, Child's Play 8 and Child's Play 9 will be referring to the two films that are after the TV series. Starting with why I think Chucky possessed Nika is actually a simple explanation. I think he just wants her death to be slow, but he wants to get the most use out of her body and just have her be killed in action. Similar to what happened to Alice, but the fact that Chucky has deep hate towards Nika and her family, I think he just wants her to suffer much worse than Alice. But here's when things get confusing. The first confusing thing is that Chucky's original intention was to kill Nika, or at least that he made it seem like in Curse, because I've always thought that maybe Chucky's idea of splitting a piece of his soul into Nika was more of a spur of the moment idea when he arrived at the mental hospital. The other confusing thing is when he kills Dr. Foley and he says,
"This is for Nika."
Did he grow a likeness for Nika or what? I could just be trying too hard to make sense out of this. It's actually just a continuity error made by Don Mancini. Because honestly, Curse was a gamble. I don't even think he knew Curse was going to be a success. And since it was, then that's when he wanted to try something new in the series and add soul splitting. So who knows, maybe Chucky really has no plan or reason to possess Nika. I think he just wants to grow his cult to continue his reign of terror. Speaking of the cult, I also don't think the cult was something Chucky wanted originally. I think it was just one of those if it works then it works type deals. And remember guys, Chucky is a maniac and he had no risk on trying a new spell. In my opinion, Chucky's ideology is create the biggest cult like Charles Manson, which makes sense because his name is based on Charles Manson and two other serial killers, and kill as many people as he can in the most sadistic ways. And let's face it, even if Chucky got what he wanted at the very beginning of the franchise, I'm referring to taking over Andy's body, he would have done the same thing to him that he did to Alice. Use him for his own benefit until he died. I apologize if that was confusing, but that's what I truly believe why Chucky possessed Nika. Long story short, just to add another member to his cult, but his cult members can only include his past victims. Okay, so now let's get into the good stuff, and that is how Andy will defeat Chucky once and for all. I theorized the only way to truly defeat Chucky without him returning like he always does, because like he says,
"I'll be back. I always come back."
his soul needs to be destroyed or somehow trapped in limbo so that he may never see Earth nor the afterlife again. And I know that seems pretty harsh for our favorite killer doll, but that's the only way to truly stop his infinite returns. I think Andy and Kyle need to do some heavy research and look beyond Damballa and find a spell or tactic to make Chucky split his soul as many times as possible so that he can unintentionally make himself vulnerable to Andy and Kyle. I actually got inspired by the Harry Potter franchise on how soul splitting is actually a lot more dangerous than people think. And I know that each franchise's logic works differently, but I think the laws of soul splitting works the same. For those of you who aren't familiar with Harry Potter, Voldemort is the main antagonist of the series, and he created 7 Horcruxes, which are items that contain a piece of his soul. And these items can be either living like a snake or something simple like a journal. And the only way to create a Horcrux is by committing murder and then performing the Horcrux spell soon after. But if those Horcruxes are destroyed, then those who split their soul will never see Earth nor the afterlife for an eternity, or worse, have no afterlife and it will only be darkness. People don't realize how similar the rules of soul splitting in Harry Potter are compared to the rules in Child's Play. It could just be a coincidence, but hear me out. Let's trace back to the end of Curse of Chucky when he attempts to transfer his soul into Alice. What we see at the end of the film is actually an incomplete ritual because turns out Alice's mother or grandmother wasn't dead. I believe he thought he killed her, but she interrupted the ritual spell only for him to finish the job and complete it after she killed her. He followed the rules correctly because he committed murder and then performed the spell shortly after. Skip to Call of Chucky. Chucky arrives at the mental hospital and notices a second good guy doll and takes advantage, but he commits murder before so. Chucky attempts to kill Nika, but she's already beating him to it by slitting her own wrists. He stitches Nika up, kills Angela, like promised, and soon after performs another soul splitting spell on Madeline's doll. He followed the rules correctly again. The next time we see another soul split scene is when Power Drill Chucky awakes Buzzcut Chucky, but before he performed the soul splitting spell, he killed Madeline. He again followed the rules correctly. The last time we see Voodoo in the films is when Chucky transfers his soul into Nika, but I don't think he was trying to split his soul for that scene, which makes sense because he leaves the soulless good guy doll behind, most likely as a backup for Power Drill Chucky. Quickly to add, I think Tiffany even completed a soul split spell herself when she killed the security guard while waiting for Chucky to get out of the mental hospital. She herself followed the laws of using the soul splitting spell. I think it's too much of a coincidence to not question Dom Mancini and ask him if he got inspiration from Harry Potter. I wouldn't be surprised if he said yes. Or who knows, maybe Child's Play takes place in the Harry Potter universe and, they're all muggles or something. Okay, now that I went in depth on soul splitting, you're probably asking, how is this important to Andy defeating Chucky? Well, if Andy learns the consequences of using this dark magic, or in this case, darker voodoo, he can trick Chucky into making too many possessed good guys and destroy them all. To explain, Chucky would have to split his soul at least 7 times for his soul to be completely unstable. Technically, Chucky has only split his soul 4 times so far. The first time was when he split his soul into Alice. The second time was when he returned to Tiffany. Along with Alice, he split his soul into another good guy doll, just in case his revenge against Andy failed, and continued the pursuit of Nika. It actually makes more sense why he pursued Andy again, because he has some knowledge of voodoo, and that could be a threat to defeating Chucky in the future. And if Andy figured out something about voodoo that Chucky doesn't know, then that's just all bad news. If Andy somehow learns that destroying each good guy that Chucky possesses also destroys the fragments of Chucky's soul, then Charles Lee Ray will never be able to return. This is how I think it's going to play after Colt. Kyle tortures Headless Stitch Chucky to find out Andy's last location. Kyle goes to the mental hospital and breaks Andy out, but they kill Power Drill Chucky first. But they're forgetting one thing. Chucky had an extra good guy lying around as a backup. That backup is that soulless good guy that was left behind after the soul transfer with Nika. I predict that good guy is going to be the lead Chucky for the TV series. He has split his soul 5 times. After the TV series, or possibly during the TV series, Andy and Kyle are going to go back to Chicago and search for knowledge that was hidden by John Bishop, aka Dr. Death, before he was killed. Here, they uncover the truth about soul splitting and look for Chucky and the rest of his cult. In Child's Play 8, it's more about the search for Chucky and his cult. I thought it would be awesome if they learn Chucky has children, and who knows, maybe they find Glenn trapped and tortured by Glenda and save him, and he possibly joins their team to defeat Chucky, in this case, his father. There will be a post-credits scene where we see Chris Sarandon as Mike Norris, Perry Reeves as Kristen, and Jeremy Silvers as Tyler. I probably just, butchered their names. But I'm just saying, that probably won't happen, but just imagine how awesome that would be. In this fictional prediction, I'm including them. In Child's Play 9, Andy, Kyle, Glenn, Mike Norris, Kristen, and Tyler eventually catch up to Nika, Glenda, Tiffany, Doll Tiffany, and of course, Chucky, who has damaged his soul beyond repair due to creating his large army of good guys for this final battle. The heroes struggle at first, but they eventually defeat them all. However, the final showdown will be Andy against the last good guy and Nika. Andy kills them both, finally destroying Charles Lee Ray once and for all. Chucky's soul is damaged, has no afterlife, and can never return to Earth to kill others. He is no more. That is my vision to end the franchise. Obviously, not everyone will agree with it and will have different interpretations of how they would end the series. And I would gladly love to hear your interpretations of the franchises, the Child's Play franchise ending in the comments below. Hope you enjoyed my video, and I had a lot of fun. And honestly, this was more of a fanfic than anything, but that's what I love about ongoing franchises is you can create fun predictions on how you think everything is going to fold out in the end. Get creative and just have fun. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.